Right now, as you're watching this, your cat is staring at something in your house that you'll never be able to see. Not because it's hiding, because your eyes physically cannot detect it. You probably assume your cat is just being weird, but what if every strange stare, every sudden head tilt, every time they freeze and lock onto empty air, they were reacting to something real, something science has now confirmed exists? And if you've been brushing off those moments, which almost every owner does, you've been ignoring the one thing that proves your cat experiences a completely different reality than you do. Let's start with the one that rewrites everything you thought you knew. 1. Your cat lives in a world that doesn't exist for you. Have you ever watched your cat sit perfectly still in the middle of a sunlit room, eyes locked on the wall, on the floor, on something you absolutely cannot find no matter how hard you look? You wave your hand, you check for bugs, nothing. And your cat just keeps staring like the answer is obvious. Most people laugh it off. They call it zoning out or being a weirdo. But what if your cat isn't staring at nothing? What if they're staring at something your eyes were never built to see? Here's what's actually happening. Cats can see ultraviolet light. That's an entire section of the light spectrum that the human eye blocks out completely. Your lens filters it, theirs doesn't, which means the room you're sitting in right now, the one you think you know, looks fundamentally different to your cat. That plain beige couch has patterns on it you've never seen. The flowers on your table have glowing guides on their petals that are completely invisible to you. Even your clothing carries UV marks and residue that your cat can read like text on a page. A 2014 study published in the Proceedings of the Royal Society confirmed that cats, along with several other mammals, possess lenses that transmit ultraviolet light directly to the retina, while human lenses block nearly all of it. Think about what that actually means. Your cat isn't staring at nothing. They're staring at a version of your home you will never get to see. Every room, every surface, every object has a hidden layer that only they can access. You're sharing a house with an animal that lives in an entirely different visual reality, and you had no idea. And if that already changes the way you see your cat's world, wait until we get to the last point in this video, because it's not just about what your cat detects out there, it's about what they detect coming from inside your body, and that one is going to sit with you long after this video ends. 2. There are sounds in your home only your cat can hear. Ever noticed your cat suddenly snap their ears towards the wall, or twitch in their sleep, or bolt upright and stare at a corner of the room in total silence? You listen, you hear absolutely nothing, and your cat looks at you like you're the one missing something. You are. Most owners assume their cat is being paranoid or dramatic, but the truth is your cat is hearing sounds that physically do not exist in your version of reality. Cats can detect frequencies up to 64,000 Hz. The human ear maxes out at roughly 20,000. That's not a small gap. That's an entire universe of sound happening in your home every single second that you have zero access to. Your phone charger on the nightstand, it's humming, your LED lights, they're buzzing, that TV on standby, it's screaming at a pitch you'll never know about, but your cat hears every single one of them, all day, all night. A study published in the journal Hearing Research confirmed that cats possess one of the broadest hearing ranges of any domestic animal, a trait evolved specifically to detect the ultrasonic vocalizations of small prey. So when your cat jerks awake at 2 in the morning and stares into the dark, they're not losing it. They're hearing something you never will. You live in the same house, but your cat exists in a completely different version of it, one filled with sounds that for you don't even exist. 3. Your cat feels the disaster before it arrives. Have you ever seen your cat go from completely relaxed to hiding under the bed for no reason? No loud noise, no visible threat, just a sudden, unexplained shift in behavior that makes no sense to you. And then, 30 minutes later, a storm rolls in, or the ground shakes. Most people call that a coincidence. It's not. Your cat felt it coming long before any forecast, any app, any radar could tell you. Cats are wired with an extraordinary sensitivity to atmospheric pressure changes and ground vibrations that the human body simply cannot register. Their paw pads are packed with nerve receptors that act like organic seismometers, detecting microtremors in the earth that are far too subtle for human perception. When an earthquake is approaching, it sends out 2 types of waves. P waves arrive first. They're fast, faint, and virtually undetectable to humans. S waves come after, and those are the ones you feel. Your cat picks up the P waves seconds to minutes before you feel anything at all. A 2018 study from the University of Camerino documented that animals, including cats, showed measurable behavioral changes in the hours leading up to seismic events, with heightened restlessness and attempts to flee linked to geophysical precursors. That's not paranoia. That's not drama. Your cat's body is receiving data from the earth itself that yours was never designed to process. So the next time your cat bolts for no reason, don't brush it off. They might be the only early warning system in your house that actually works. 4. Your cat knows you're coming before you arrive. Here's something that might surprise you. Have you ever walked through your front door and found your cat already sitting there, staring at you, like they'd been waiting for exactly this moment? You didn't send a signal. You didn't make a sound, at least not one you think think they could hear from that far away, but somehow they were ready. Most people assume it's routine. Their cat just happened to be near the door. But here's what most people don't realize. Your cat has memorized the exact sound of your car engine, the specific rhythm of your footsteps, the way your keys jangle, the cadence of your walk from the driveway to the door. They've built an entire acoustic profile of you that is so precise they can separate your arrival from every other person who passes by. A 2013 study published in Animal Cognition showed that cats can clearly distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's, even without visual contact. Now extend that to every sound you make as you approach your home. They're not reacting the same way when the neighbor pulls in or the delivery truck stops outside. Those sounds don't match. Yours do, every single time. So when your cat is already at the door before your hand touches the handle, that's not coincidence. That's an animal that has studied you so closely they recognize you by sound alone in a way no human ever could. That's not habit. That's devotion built through listening. 5. Your cat watches things you cannot see move. Ever caught your cat tracking something across the room with absolute laser precision, head moving slowly, eyes locked, and when you follow their gaze, there is absolutely nothing there? It's one of the most unsettling things a cat can do, but they're not hallucinating. And no, they're not seeing ghosts. Your cat is tracking particles, micro-insects, and air movements so small that your brain doesn't even bother processing them. Cats possess a dramatically higher concentration of rod cells in their retinas compared to humans, making them extraordinarily sensitive to the faintest motion. A single piece of lint lifting off your blanket, a gnat so small it's essentially invisible to you, a shadow shifting because the curtain moved half a centimeter in the breeze. You miss all of it. Your cat catches every single frame. And here's what makes this even more incredible. Those same eyes that can track a floating dust particle across the room go completely blurry on anything closer than about 25 centimeters. Cats are naturally farsighted, so when something gets too close to see, they don't panic. They switch systems. Their whiskers fan forward like biological radar, feeling the shape and movement of whatever their eyes can no longer resolve. They even have carpal whiskers on the backs of their front legs that help them sense prey already caught in their paws. Your cat isn't broken when they stare at nothing. They're locked onto a layer of reality so fine-grained your senses gave up on it a long time ago. Theirs never did. They're not spacing out. They're dialed into a frequency of the world you lost access to the moment you were born human. 6. Your cat can hear what's happening inside your body. Remember at the beginning of this video when I told you there was one thing your cat detects that isn't about the world around them, but about what's going on inside you? This is it. Your cat can hear your heartbeat, not when they're pressed against your chest. From across the room, they can hear the rhythm of your breathing shift. They can detect when your pulse quickens, and those tiny, invisible changes tell them more about how you're actually feeling than anything you could ever say out loud. When you're stressed, your heart rate rises, your breathing turns shallow, your body releases cortisol, and your cat picks up on every single one of those shifts in real time. This is why cats so often appear beside someone who's upset or sick or silently anxious without ever being called over. They're not guessing that something is wrong. They're hearing it. They're physically detecting the distress signals your body is broadcasting whether you want it to or not. A 2020 study published in the journal Animal Cognition found that cats are not passive observers of their owner's emotional states. They actively perceive changes in human affect and many adjust their own behavior in response. Some become more vocal, some press closer, some simply position themselves nearby, quietly, without asking for anything in return. Think about what that actually means. In the wild, a cat would never lower its guard for another animal's emotional state. Survival depends on staying alert, staying independent, staying detached. But your cat hears your heart racing from across the room and walks toward you. Not away, toward you. An animal built for self-preservation is choosing to override that instinct because your distress matters to them more than their own safety. You're a living broadcast, and your cat is always, always tuned in. Every time your cat stares at a wall you can't decode, flinches at a sound you can't hear, bolts before a storm you didn't see coming, or quietly walks over and sits beside you on the worst day of your life, they're proving something most people never stop long enough to understand. Your cat doesn't just live beside you. They experience you in ways your own species never could. And every single day, without a word, they choose you anyway.